Hey guys, thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Sabrina and usually I make pottery on this channel, but I've been in the mood to do some sewing lately, so that's what we're going to be doing today. I've had this fabric for a couple years now. I bought it somewhere online with the intentions of making a cute Halloween dress out of it, because it's got a spooky vibe and it also glows in the dark, so what more could you possibly want? So I did try and make that dress a couple years ago and it didn't work out very well, so I just kind of wasted the fabric and I threw the scraps into my stash box and I pretended that it never happened. But every Halloween that has passed since then, I think about it and I think about how much I want a piece of clothing made out of it. And when the pandemic first started, I decided to make this mask out of it because it's the cutest fabric that I own. And ever since then, the yard and a half that remained has just been sitting there taunting me and asking me, what am I going to do with it? Is it just going to die in my scrap bin? And I said no, because I've been watching a lot of Rachel Maxey lately, and her combination of sewing and spookiness has inspired me to break it out and make this shirt. So that is the story of how this shirt was born. I hope you enjoyed it, and I am now going to stop rambling and we are going to get into it. So let's do it. So the first thing that I am going to do is make a pattern. So I'm going to take this dress that I already own and I already really like the fit of, and I'm going to trace it onto some paper and just try to conjure up something close to what I'm imagining. But I forgot that what I was imagining had sleeves, so I'm gonna cut this piece of paper out, realize that, and then trace it onto some new paper that includes a sleeve and a shoulder and all that good stuff, and then I'm gonna cut that out. And I also cut that one pattern piece in half because I'm going to sew a dart in there, which will hopefully make this shirt fit my body and not just be a box, because that's definitely not what I want. So yeah, the sleeve I made ended up not even working, so whatever. And then I also cut out a back piece, but I totally forgot to film that, so here it is now. I'm gonna pin my front piece onto the fabric, making sure I do it on the fold so that when I cut it out, I have one piece that will be the front panel, and then I'm gonna cut out my two side front kind of panels, and yeah. And then I'm also going to cut these pieces out of a different black fabric I had lying around in the form of a silk pajama shirt. It wasn't real silk, don't worry. And yeah, so I'm just gonna cut that out and I'm gonna use that as the lining because it's just gonna, you know, thicken up this shirt, make it a little more luxurious, a little more professional. It's also kind of see-through, so it's gonna make it a little bit less see-through. And then I'm going to pin all three of the skeletal pieces together and sew them along those seams. And I'm also going to sew the three silk pajama shirt lining pieces, and I'm going to sew those together before sewing those two pieces together. So that's what we're doing here. And then I'm just pinning the lining to the front piece at the neckline, and I'm just going to sew that to start. Of course, my bobbin is going to run out because that always happens at an inconvenient time. I guess there's never really a convenient time for it to run out. The bobbin is the bottom feeding thread spool, and sometimes it runs out and then you have to fill it back up. So I did that, and then I finished what I was doing, and then I'm breaking out the iron so that I can get those crisp seams. And I just like to iron like the inside flat so that everything lays nice and flat when we're all done. And then I also went ahead and made some back pieces using that back pattern piece I made, and then just ironing that nice and flat, making sure the corners are pushed out and pointy, and just going to town with that iron. So then here you can see I am pinning the front and the back pieces together at the shoulders, and I'm going to attach that to my dress form and pin it together to try and get some idea of if this is going to fit me at all. And things are looking pretty good right about now, so I go ahead and I sew the shoulders, and I also sew those side seams up. And the next step is to hem the bottom. So it's always good to pin it just so you can kind of see the whole bottom hem at once, so it's actually straight, because sometimes I've sewn things where the hem is not straight and it wasn't like a cute asymmetrical design choice, it was just my lack of detail orientation. So learn from my mistakes. And then sew your hem. And once you're done sewing the hem, we're gonna put in the zipper. And I didn't do a great job of filming this the first time, so here's a little bonus zipper instructional video. I never use a zipper foot, I've never owned one, and I feel like zippers always turn out pretty well for me, so just move the zipper pull around as you need to, and just hope for the best, and that is all I have to say about putting in a zipper. Cool, so everything is sewn together, and with the zipper in, I can actually try this piece on. So here you can see the first time I've tried it on, and everything's looking pretty good, minus this kind of gaping neckline situation, which I end up bringing in a little bit. I don't film it because why would I? But just at those little middle points, I just pinched them and I just sewed right along them, and that seemed to do the trick. Forgot to film me cutting out the sleeves, but they're just sleeves. You're gonna want to make sure that the arm curve is equal to the one on your bodice so that you can actually sew them together. And don't be like me and forget to measure how jacked your bicep is and then sew a little baby sleeve that can barely fit over your muscles. So yeah, measure your bicep. Mine is 12 inches, so, you know, not trying to brag, but that's just me. And I wanted the sleeves to have a little bit of flounciness, a little bit of volume. So what I did to achieve that is I bought some really cheap elastic. The local Joann's was running low on elastic, and I can only imagine why. So I just used whatever I could find, and I sewed it to the very top of the inside of my sleeve because I wanted to gather it a bit. So I stretched that elastic out as far as it could go, pinned it in place, and then sewed it so that when the elastic shrinks back to its, you know, normal state, it'll kind of gather the sleeve a little bit. So at this point, I'm running out of fabric, and I want to make a band to cuff the bottom of the sleeve. And to do this, I end up cutting out 4 rectangles that are all half of the circumference of my bicep so that I can sew 2 together and get 1 band, because I don't have the option of cutting out 2. It doesn't look like I ironed them, wow. And then attaching that cuff to the bottom of the sleeve, I did have to gather it just a little bit to get it to actually fit, but that only increased the flounciness of the sleeve. So worked out real well. Just sewing that together, and that is going to be it for the sewing machine today. And then after that is my least favorite part, which is snipping all those loose threads, because boy are there a lot. But taking the time to do this actually is probably the best thing you can do to make your handmade garments look really nice. Just snipping all those little loose threads. I'm super happy with how it turned out. I really love this fabric so much. I'm so happy with the placement of all of the different skeletal things. I decided to wear it with this very cute tooth necklace from my friend Stone Vein Studio. So follow her on Etsy if you want to do that. Yeah, real happy with this shirt, and wouldn't change a thing. That's all I have for you guys today, so I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed making this shirt, and if you did, you can leave a like down below, and you can also subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more of my creative endeavors. And if that's not enough, you can also follow me on Instagram to see all of my pottery at Ceramic Sabrina. And yeah, I have no idea what kind of video I'm going to post next, but what I do know is that I will see you there. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye! I almost forgot to show you guys the glow-in-the-dark part, which honestly I think is the coolest thing about it. And I tried really hard to get it to pick up on my camera and my phone camera, and neither of them could pick up the glow in the dark. So I'm just gonna throw in a picture here, and hopefully that's good enough. Okay, bye.